Hello everyone, Tim again, timscomputerfix.net. Hey, in this video I'm just going to show a quick way to pan and zoom on your video projects using Adobe Premiere Pro. This is Adobe Premiere Pro 6. And the way I show you here will pretty much work the same way, same settings, in just about all of the Adobe Premiere Pro software. So what I've done is I have created a little 1-minute screencast down here. This is my project area here. And these are all the imported videos go here, or imported content goes here. And basically what I have done is I have opened up 3 separate windows in this screencast. And we're going to pan and zoom into each window. And you can use this technique with screencasts or regular video. Either one will work. So what we want to do is go ahead and drag this screencast over to our timeline. And you can see there now it shows up on our preview pane up here, top right. And then we want to go ahead and select the actual video, make sure it's highlighted. And then up here on the left, you'll see we have the effects controls tab selected. So that's what we want there. And then you'll see the choices here that you have of motion, opacity, volume. This is all the audio effects here. We won't worry about those. We're mainly worried about the motion. So we'll click the little small arrow here next to motion. And the areas that we're going to concentrate on, the settings we're going to concentrate on are these settings right here. These are going to allow us to pan and zoom. And I'll show you how. So let's go back over here real quick and look at the actual screencast that I have for this demo here. And I will just kind of breeze through it real quick and you'll see how 3 windows open up at separate times. And we're going to zoom in and concentrate on each window as they open. So let's just say, for instance, you've started your screencast and you want to show different parts of a program or different windows that open up. This is how we're going to do it. So let's just have a quick look here to the right of the effects controls. This represents another timeline off the clip that we selected. This is where you're going to be putting markers. And basically if you slide this marker here over, this scans through the whole entire clip that you have selected. So this is where we're going to put our markers. This is where we're going to tell the program where we want to start and stop certain effects that we're going to be doing here. I'll show you how easy it is in a minute. First of all, what I like to do here is that I'd like to kind of widen our look here on this. So down here in the bottom right is a little slider, and I'm going to slide this. This is going to widen our area here, like magnify our timeline here. So now it takes longer to get to the other end, and in order to get to the other end you have to move your slider back and forth, if that makes sense. But I like working like this when it comes to markers, because if the markers are too close together it could be a little confusing. But anyway, let's just take a look here at the scale before we go any further. Our scale is very simply this. Our scale zooms in and out of our clip. So let's just say, for instance, we want to zoom in on the center part of this, or let's just say we just want to zoom straight in on this entire desktop picture here as an example. And we can just simply use this scale effect over here in our effects controls. And this, don't forget this slider right here, since all the way to the left, it represents, this red line represents that we are at the very beginning of this clip. And that's where we want to be, because we want to basically start this zoom at this point. So basically what we'll do is put a marker here next to the scale section. So we go over here to scale and we'll hit that button there. And what that does, as you can see here, it puts a little marker, and that's telling this program that, okay, I like it where it is right here. Where do we go from now? So if I move this slider across, of course we're going to come further along in this video. So let's just say to right here we're about 6 seconds into the clip. So let's just say after 6 seconds I want to be zoomed in somewhere in this area here. So at this point, now that we know we are 6 seconds into the video, this is our scale number here, and this can be changed, and this is what we're going to change. You can either type a number in, or you can use your mouse. You get this little arrow icon here, and you can left click and hold, and you can move this number left or right. So I'm just moving my mouse left or right. Those numbers are changing, and as you see here on the right, the zoom is starting to change. So let's just say, for instance, I wanted to zoom in to about right here. So basically at 6 seconds into the video, it'll be zoomed in at this point. So we can go back and check that. We'll bring our slider all the way back, and then you can just press the play button to kind of see what it looks like. And as you can see, we do a slow zoom until you get all the way to the 6 second or so mark, and that's it. And then the video keeps on playing from there. So that kind of explains how that works with the zoom feature. What you can do too with these markers here, you can change them. We can take this marker and we can move it further away from the beginning of the video. So then that would mean that at the very beginning of the video now, it will not zoom until it gets to whatever time frame this is. So if we press play, notice how the picture doesn't zoom until it hits that marker. And now it's going to zoom faster because still at 6 seconds, that's where we wanted it to be. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. Markers are really important in each clip when it comes to these effects controls. Okay, let's go ahead and we'll get rid of these zoom markers and concentrate on the panning of this video. So the way you get rid of markers is simply right click and just hit clear, right click, clear. So there's no more zoom feature available. Okay, and now you can see that the zooming is not happening because we took the markers out. Okay, let's take a look now at the panning, how the panning is done. They call this position setting here, or the position effect in Adobe Premiere. So let's just keep the screen as it is right here. It works very similar to the zoom feature. We have to have our markers to tell the program, you know, where we want to begin the panning. So let's just start right here at the very beginning. We are right here at the very beginning of this video. So we'll put a marker for the position, and then we'll start there. So we now have a marker at the very beginning of this clip, and these two numbers right here basically are the two numbers we'll be changing, and these numbers will go left and right and up and down. So, and this is going to look kind of funny because it's going to take it out of the screen, but I'll show you here in a minute. So we can change this number. You can either punch the number in. The default is 128 or 1280 for the, I guess, the left and right setting. 1280 is the default, like so. 720 is the up and down. That's the default. So if you ever want to reset center up things again after you change these numbers, just remember or write it down. It's 1280, 720. 1280 and 720 are the two numbers you want. You can either change this manually or you can do as you did with the zoom. So let's just say, let's move this slider over and let's just say at another, we'll just use 6 seconds or so. Yeah, we'll put it right there. So let's just say 6 seconds into it, we want to pan over to another part of the screen. Basically, we'll just tell it to, we'll just slide this over. And I know this looks funny because we're not zooming, so it's going to take my entire project kind of off of the pane here, off of the preview pane. But we're going to use that in conjunction with the zoom here in a minute, or the scale in a minute. But I'm just trying to give you first an idea of these markers. So as you can see now, the same thing as the scale. We start the video off dead center, and then 6 seconds into it we are off to the right a bit. And then if we go back and play our video smoothly, you'll see that the screen will start to slowly shift to the right until it reaches its designated marker, and then it'll continue playing from there. Okay, and everything works the same way backwards. If you want to get it back over, centered back up, you can leave this marker here, and we can put another marker here. Okay, so that tells the program that we want to stay in this position all the way to this point, and then let's just say from this position to this point here in the video, we want to be centered again. So basically what we'll do is change the number here, or go back to default. So I just click on this and type 1280.0, and that's going to put another marker here, and it's going to center up our picture, and then the video will continue playing from there. So let's go back to this marker and hit play, and then you'll see how it'll go back centered up at the point in which we put that marker. Hopefully this makes sense. I think it will once I start zooming in on certain windows. So we're going to start right here at the very beginning with these markers here, and just start beginning from play, and you'll see that every marker that we hit, it's moving off to the right till we hit a marker. Then we told it to stay put until it hits the next marker, and then from that marker to the last marker, we want it to go back center. So hopefully that makes sense. The same thing works. It works the same way as up and down, which is this number here. This will take you up and down, as you see there. So, and that's how we're going to zoom and pan into our little windows that we have opened up here on this video. So I'm going to go ahead and clear these markers. Let's see. We'll clear them one at a time, or we can select all and clear. There we go. Okay, and go back to the beginning of the video. So now I'm going to proceed to show you how to use those two techniques to zoom in on each window that opens up in the video. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to locate where in the video the first window pops up. Okay, so right now we like everything as it is right now. So I'm going to put a marker for scale, and I'm going to put a marker for position, right here at the very beginning of the video. Okay, and then we're going to scan here real quick to see when that first window pops up. Okay, there's our first window right there. So we know that at 9 seconds or so that window pops up. So what we want to do here is, since we're right here at that spot where we want to center in on this particular window, what we now can do is use our scale and position numbers here to go ahead and zoom in on this window. So I'm going to just play around a little bit. Let's just move the scale a little bit. That's not too bad. And now that everything's kind of off the screen, let's play around with our positioning here. So I want to go right first. So I'm going to kind of move around. And while I'm moving left and right, I want to be sure that I don't see any of those black bars, you know, on the left, right, top, or bottom. Like, we don't want to see that black bar there on the right. So we're going to keep the picture inside the frame. So that's about as far as I want to go that way. So let's do the up and down number here. And get it to where I'm happy with how it's centered. So let's just call it something like right there. So I'm zoomed almost perfectly. This entire window is centered up a lot better. Obviously I can't center it fully, because if I do, we'll start showing black bars on the side. See the bar there on the right. So we don't want that, but I'm happy with that. That's about the best we can get with that. So, and as you notice here, there's our marker for our scale and our position at that point in time at 9 seconds. So what we do is we can preview that. Let's bring this back over to the beginning, and we'll press play, and notice how it's slowly moving up to the area where that window is going to be open. And then the window opens and you're there. Now, let's just say, for instance, that you don't want to start slowly zooming in on that window. You want it to happen kind of quickly. Well, don't forget what I said here. You can move these markers. So let's just kind of move these in like so. These are the beginnings of the effects. Okay, so it doesn't have to be at the beginning of the clip. It could be anywhere. The start of the effect can be anywhere in the clip. So let me move these a little bit closer, like so. Okay, so that this way, when we start to play, now we're playing the video, it's going to stay just like it is until we reach a certain point where those markers are. Then it'll zoom in real quick, and it'll hit right whenever that window opens. So hopefully that makes sense to you. Okay, so we know that there's going to be a second window that's going to open that we want to pan over to. But, you know, we're not going to be able to see that with the way this window is here. So we want to find out where exactly in point in time this video is going to have that second window open. So I'm going to go down here to the project area here where I imported my videos. I'm just going to double click on my project. So you can see here that's opened up my screencast in another window, right where our effects controls were. It basically just opened up another tab. This is useful if you want to, you know, kind of review where certain parts of your screencast is. So we're just going to scan using this slider here to find out exactly when that second window appears. And there it is right there. So it looks like it appears right at about 23 seconds. So we see that now. So what we can do is we'll come up here and X out of this tab. Okay, and that'll bring us, we'll hit our effects controls here. And that'll bring us back to our familiar screen. And then we know here at 23 seconds, we're going to need to be centered up on that other window that pops up. So basically, I guess we could just maybe just try to let a little bit of time lapse here, looking at this screen. And then let's just say at 15 seconds, we want to start panning over to the other window. So what I can do here is put a marker at this point. So basically that tells it to stay put between this marker and this marker. And now we go to the 23-second mark. All right, that's about our 23, give or take, right about there. So now what we want to do is pan over and have a look at this second window. So let's go ahead and move our slider here. There's our second window. Move it over like so. We can center this one up. Oh, there's a black bar on the left there. We don't want it. Our picture's getting too far over to the right, so we'll keep it right about there. And I'm not quite centered up. Notice how it did put a marker here. So we're going to go up now a little bit and get it a little bit better centered. See, there's a black bar up top too. We can't have that. So if you start seeing that, we got to hide that. That's the edge of our screen. So we'll keep it just like that. And there you go. Something like that is about the best you're going to get. There's our second screen. So here, notice that no marker was set for the scale. That is simply because we have not changed the zoom or the scale ratio on this. So it just remains the same. It's fine. So let's kind of go back here to our first screen. That's our first window, okay? So this is where we placed the last marker. So let's just play this, and then you'll see how it stays in place until it reaches that 15-second mark, and then it'll slowly start to pan over and center up on our second window that appears. Okay, now there's a third window that's going to be coming up, right? So we move this over here a little bit, and let's let this stay for about 5 seconds or so. That would be 23. Let's just leave it here for 30 seconds. So we'll bring this guy all the way over to 30 seconds. Okay, 30 seconds or so. Okay, so basically it's going to stay in this position for another 8 seconds or what have you. We're going to go ahead and put another marker here, telling it to stay in position at that point. And we'll put another scale marker there too, in case we need to change that. Okay, now our last window. Let's bring up our preview pane again here. Double click on the project. And let's find out at what point that bottom one appears. There that is. That is right about, let's just say 34 seconds. Let's see. Yeah, well no. Let's just say 34 seconds. 34.15 seconds. A little over 34 seconds. We'll just call it that. All right, so we know that, a little over 34 seconds. Let's go ahead and close out this tab. Go back to our effects control tab. So we know we're going to be staying in position here till 30 seconds in the video. As you see here, we're 30 seconds in the video. So we know that by the time we get to 34 seconds, we need to look at the second window, and right about, I would say, yeah, we can go right about there, 34:20. That's fine, close enough. Okay, now we want to, of course, start moving down to see that third box. Okay, so let's first use our up and down. This one's going to be at the bottom of the screen, so we'll just use our slider here to go down, and as you can see, there's the third window. All right, and let's be careful not to show the black bars, edge of our screen. Let's just come on up. We'll go up to here. Okay, and then we'll go off to the right. Okay. Get it about centered up like so. And as you notice now, it automatically put a marker here for us for that left and right, up and down. It'll put a marker there for you. And then we want to maybe zoom in a little bit on this. So let's go ahead and do our scale. We're going to move forward, not too much there. Okay, when I zoomed in, that kind of got it off center, so we're going to go back up and use our slider on our positioning to kind of move it down. So once we're happy with that, notice that these markers here are put in automatically for us as we adjusted these positions to where we want it. So those are automatically put in place for us, if that makes sense. So let's just see how that did. We'll go back to, say, the second screen here. Yeah. And then we'll press play. And it'll sit there for a while we talk about that window. Now we're going to talk about the third window, and it's going to go right down and zoom right in on it perfectly. And now we can sit there and talk about that window if we like. Just an example, guys, just an example. Hopefully that makes sense. So let's just say you're done talking about all three of those windows now, and say you want to center everything back up and you want to get it there kind of slowly before the video's over. We're now 41 seconds into our project, about a 1 minute or so project. So let's just say before we end completely, we want to center everything back up. So let's just say at 41 seconds, we want to go ahead and start the process of getting centered up. We will put 2 more markers, one in the position, one in the scale. That's telling the program that we want to hold steady until 41 seconds. And then from that point, we can choose where before the end of the video do we want it to be lined, centered all back up, scale perfect, centered up perfect. Let's just say right here at, let's just say 54 seconds. That way we leave a few seconds at the end of the video to have everything squared up. So, and maybe we can put like an outro or a title or whatever we want to put there. So let's just go ahead and set these. This is where we want to get everything centered up again. Let's just go ahead and set these numbers to default. Remember I said they're important to remember these numbers. So instead of trying to slide this around and find your perfect point, we're just going to punch the numbers in. We'll highlight it. And this one here was 1280.0. This one here was 720.0. Okay. And notice how everything's changed there on your preview screen. And also notice how a marker now has been put at this point automatically. Now we've got to do our scale. Our scale always starts off at 100. So we just change that to our default value. 100.0, enter. And now everything is centered up as it was at the beginning of the video. And you can see it automatically put those markers in here for us after we change those settings. And then from this point, we can just leave all of the scale and setting stuff alone, because this is going to be the end of our little video here. So pretty much, let's go back. Let's have a look at the final project. We'll go all the way back to the beginning of the video. We'll press play. It's hitting our first marker, slowly zooming into our second marker where it's zooming in on that first window. It's going to hold there for a while we talk about that. Then it's going to start to pan over to our second window where our other marker is. And now it's going to sit there for a while until we talk about that window. And now it's going to start to pan down to our third window. And now it's going to sit there and we talk about that window until it hits our final marker, which will then back everything out. By the end of the video, it will be centered up. So that is pretty much how you use the position and scale features on Adobe Premiere Pro to pan and zoom your projects. I hope that helps somebody out. We'll do more Premiere Pro videos in the future, and I have other videos coming your way. TimsComputerFix.net is where you can find me. Thanks again, everyone. See you soon.